Welcome to Spiritual Changemakers, the podcast that guides you through tough times with practical tools and inspiring stories. I'm Andreea Tamas, your host and the Sacred Transitions Coach. Join us as we hear from spiritual changemakers who have connected with their higher power and overcame adversity. Whether you are navigating a difficult transition or seeking to deepen your spiritual practice, our podcast provides guidance to help you find magic in the change. Come on this journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and transformation with us and unlock your potential to become your best self. Welcome, beautiful souls, to a new episode on Spiritual Changemakers. Oh my God, I'm so excited to have Rebecca today. I have known her work, I would say, for 4 or 5 years now, and I have been having your card deck, which is the Starseeds Oracle. That is one of the few card decks that I have been traveling with all over the world with. I'm like, this goes with me. And I have read your book, and I think you actually, but it's been quite a few years ago. Rise, Sister, Rise. No, you actually wrote that book, and it was a beautiful introduction for me to feminine energy, to really connect with the feminine energy within you. And I really want to welcome you here, Rebecca. I'm so excited to have you here. And for the listeners that maybe it's the first time that they're introduced to you, I just want to share a little bit who's Rebecca Campbell. And she is a transformational author, mystic, artist, speaker, teacher, and podcast. And she is supporting people to connect with their soul. She's the founder of the Inner Temple Mystery School and the Oracle Card Reader Certification. Rebecca's mission is to wave the sacred back into everyday life. So I really want to welcome you, Rebecca, and share with us a little bit about how did you got to be on this journey to help people connect with their soul mission, and how did it all started?
Well, I had an awakening when I was quite young as a teenager. So that kind of opened my mind up to answering big questions and kind of like I became really fascinated by like exploring the path of awakening, asking things like what happens when we die and, like what is the soul and past lives and all of that. So I'd always been like really fascinated by these type of mystical questions and concepts since I was quite young. And then it was really in my late 20s where it just became clear that I was being called to. I was a creative, I was a writer, so I was doing that type of work. But it was around that time that I was being called to merge my creativity with my passion in spirituality. Yeah.
And how that journey was for you, like to bring your creativity and create a business to share your mission and be paid for
Well,
it.
well, I think I realized that I was a channel. So I was connecting in with a like collective consciousness and it was coming through me. And so I began like writing that down. And then that turned into what I knew was going to be my first book. Now, gathering up the courage to quit my career, to devote myself to writing that book and gosh, like changing my career completely, took a long time for me to like, finally surrender and make the plan to do that. And yeah, and it was scary too because I'd always known that I wanted to put creations out in the world, and I'd created this amazing career as a creative director too. So yeah, giving that up was like, it was a big deal for me. So yeah.
Yeah, and what helped you in that moment? You're like, it was very hard because you had a good career, but what made you keep going and go beyond the fears?
Yeah, well, I think it was I had studied intuition, so I knew from my brain that what my intuition was telling me to do. So I had that evidence, if you know what I mean. I also experienced some like I lost two of my really good friends, my best friends, and my long-term relationship ended. So I was going through a difficult period. And I actually think that kind of helped me because, with particularly one friend, Blair, when he passed so suddenly, it just like it ripped me apart, and it
Mm.
made me really properly look at like life is so short, and why are we here? And I knew why I was here. And actually Blair and I, both of us, we said that like once we've made it in our careers, then we'll write a book together. And so I just knew like I just have to do this now. So yeah, I think it was the combo of those things.
Of going through a very hard,
Yeah.
challenging
And
time.
and and coupled with, like your soul wakes you up in the middle of the night when you're not paying attention to it. And that was happening over and over and
Mm.
over again. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that. So
Mm.
when you don't pay attention, your soul wakes you
Mm.
up during the night?
I think it happens to a lot of us, where it's like we'll wake up in the middle of the night and where we're alone with our thoughts, and we have this like sinking feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to make a change here. And I think anytime we're going through a big transition period, or whether it's like a relationship that's not in alignment anymore, um and we're afraid of letting go because it's like, those things we cling to the most are the things that are holding us captive. So yeah, and I think that we've all had those moments in the middle of the night on the bathroom floor, or waking up
Um,
in bed just going, gosh, I think this is what I need to do. And it takes courage to trust it and act on it. But also it's like it takes time for many of us to like surrender to that. And that definitely was the case for me. Yeah.
and you mentioned a big word there, surrender.
Mhm.
Which
Mhm.
I know for me, almost my whole life, I was a control freak and
Yeah.
having to know what to do when and so on. And after I started on my healing journey 3 years ago, after my life partner passed away, I
Mm.
made a mantra, trust and surrender, and just
Mm.
went on my travels being guided intuitively. So I'm curious, how would you define the word and the way of living in surrender? Because I
Mm.
think many people actually associate it with being passive, which
Mm.
that's not true either. So I would love to
Mm.
hear from your experience, what does means for you to live in surrender?
Such a good question. I think the first thing that we need to realize when it comes to surrender is like surrender, like change is certain, like change is everywhere. Change is part of life and nature here on planet Earth. It's
Mhm.
like unavoidable, right? It's the one sure thing. And so what surrender really is allowing change to happen. And change is going to happen regardless.
Mhm.
And so,
Yep.
you know, and it doesn't mean it's easy because surrender can be like it can be passive, like as in like I'm just going to lean back here and just like allow myself to be supported or allow the change to happen. But it can also be the complete opposite. Like if we look at the seasons, right? So there's like fall or autumn, it's like the leaves are falling. So that's a I'm letting go. But then there's winter, which is more passive, where it's like, oh my gosh, is spring ever gonna come? But you
Mhm.
gotta rest. But really what's happening in winter is beneath the surface, things have never been more active. And it's actually in the
Mhm.
waiting that it comes. And then there's spring, which requires the action, the motion like as the buds come up. And then summer is obviously the bloom, right? So we could surrender in all those different seasons in different ways. Each season requires a
Mhm.
different type of trust in the changing process. Yeah.
And how do
And
you know
so
what season you are in?
such a good question, isn't it? I think the more time you spend with your soul, your inner self, the easier it is to know. Also, understanding the seasons, you'll be able to tell. And I think as well, um, we can we go through the physical seasons, obviously, all of us. I mean, I know
Mhm.
some of us live in more seasonal places than others.
Yeah.
um, But so that's happening. But then also where we go through inner seasons, through different phases of our life. And then on top of that, different parts of our life can be in different seasons, right? So an example for that could be if you're working on a creative project, that goes through all of the seasons. Like I'm kind of moving from winter into spring at the moment, where my publisher's like, I'd love to get a new project in the pipeline. What do you want to do? And I'm like, like I'm almost ready, but I'm not quite ready. And
Oh,
if I just come up with ideas before those seeds are ready to bloom, I'm going to waste my time working on something that isn't potent. It hasn't emerged from within me, right?
yeah.
Whereas if I wait for the right time and tend to those little seeds and I'm almost there, then that energy will move me through it.
Mm,
Yeah, but then if I delay, and so it's different areas of our life can be through different seasons, yeah. And like I have been through um, a period where I had like an inner winter for several years. And it was just, and that was to do with like regulating my nervous system, recovering from having babies, and just really just recalibrating and integrating after like extreme spiritual awakening periods.
wow.
So yeah, these seasons can last for chapters of our life, or they can be shorter. So yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love that because what I hear you saying is really like tuning in with yourself and
Mm,
learning how to listen to your own soul, your own guidance, because the pressure and the
mm,
shoots are going to come from the outside.
mm,
And you
mm,
said that you had a few years of your inner winter. And it's so interesting because for me, after I went through that period with my life partner, which was like a 9 months
mm,
of a cancer journey, which was
mm,
very, very intense. And then I went on my healing journey, traveling the world.
mm,
I could not find that drive and motivation
mm,
back to go to work. And I remember I would blame myself, but what's happening? Why it's not there? And like I
mm,
want to like get working. I know I'm here to do a big mission, and just that
mm.
like that blame because we think we should act and be in a certain way.
It's so true. It's so true. Whereas it's kind of like any feeling that we have, if we allow ourselves to properly feel it, like, and I'm sure, have deep experience with grief, for example, where there seems to be it has a life of its own, and there's things
Yeah.
that we can obviously do to ease it and all of that. But if you let yourself fully grieve, you realize it's evidence of how much you love and loved, and when we are in grief, it's so close to that beautiful nostalgic feeling of like connection with someone,
Mhm.
and when we're grieving, like I'm thinking of the period that I went through, which I was one of the biggest grieving periods of my life, where it's like the grief would be like a wave. I'd be on the tube in London and everything was fine, and then all of a sudden it just would blast through me in red hot tears, and it was just like, whoa, like where did this come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me how you navigate, yes, as a businesswoman, as an
Mm.
entrepreneur. How do you navigate these seasons in your life, in your business?
Gosh, that's a really good question. First of all, when it comes to creativity, I try and honor where I'm actually at and trust that, like, the inspiration is like it's come from within, rather than just feeling like, oh, I just need to do this because it's like everyone else is doing it, or I should be doing it. So there's that. I do find that, like, for example, when I'm in a winter phase, I do find that running a business helps me because it's like in my personal life, I might be like, oh my God, it feels like everything's falling apart. The ritual of showing up to meetings and all of that and working, I actually I find comfort in that
Mhm.
personally, like the structure. And yeah, I think as well, if you recognize what season you are in, you can honor it. So, for example, if I'm in a autumn, which is fall season, I'm like, whoa, I am probably changing a lot. I can feel change coming. Oh, there's a power that's wanting to come in. There's a potency that's wanting to come. I'm probably going to change things here. I'm going to try new things. I'm going to let the energy like really come in,
Mhm.
you know? And
Mhm.
I think we do this naturally, but it's like when change comes, often we are like, oh, that's a bit, is this wrong? Is this right? Is this wrong? Same thing if I'm in winter, trusting that, no, this is the time to rest. And yeah, a peer might be in their summer. So don't compare my winter to their summer because they had a winter too where, they let the fields life out fallow so that when summer comes, the blooms are strong. Yeah.
Beautiful. And where I want to go from here is understanding how do you balance also between the structure and the flow, like the feminine. How do
Hmm.
you balance between the two in your life and in your business? Because from my experience, and I know I've seen many women in the same situation, we go into this structure and go and try to build a business like a man, and then we are
Mm,
burned out and dissatisfied
mm,
and disconnected, and it's like, oh my god. So for example, I went through these two big spectrums of being super strong into the masculine and structure and just like go and do it. And then when I went on my healing journey and traveling, I went very much into the flow. And now I'm in the
mm,
point of like balancing. Okay, how do I find a balance in between the two? And I know a lot
mm.
of women struggle with this. And I'm curious how you approach this.
Yeah, that's really great. Okay, so first of all, I so resonate with what you're saying. I definitely like built I was tuned in for sure, but I built my business by working really hard. I definitely did that. It's the thing that I need to work on the most, not working so hard.
Mm,
But I also know that my true gift is to create and to be a channel. And I know that my creations and channeling is most potent when I have space around me. So it's constantly the balance of the two. One like really practical way I do this is I really plan my week and my days around like quite practically in that I know I do my best work in the mornings and I should be creating in that time. And so I call it like having like the mystics have the morning or the artists have the
mm,
morning. And so I won't do any meetings. I won't book any meetings in. I won't like I'll do my best not to like check Slack or my emails too much.
mhm,
Like if I can see it's a work thing, I'll just like put it to the side. I'll make sure that there's nothing like urgent that I need to look at. But yeah, I will be like, I'll do that in the afternoon. All my meetings are in the afternoon. And then like if I'm a lot of the work that I need to do is like for my membership, the sanctuary, or courses that I might be doing, or like interviews like this, I noticed that like I was like flip yo-yoing a lot through my week when I just kind of booked them in any time. So, and you know what it's like, you kind of do your hair and your makeup and get the lights on and all of that. It's time consuming. And so I streamline it so I have one day a week where there's like a 4 hour window where I need to record. And so my team knows that we call it a recording run sheet, and all interviews are in
mhm,
there. And I've got all scripts that I need to record that like I've written myself, but it's kind of really, and that's very masculine. But
mhm,
that masculine order allows me to drop into the feminine. So
mm.
yeah, both are really important, as you know.
Yes, yes, they sure are. I know because
Mm,
I noticed when I was very much into my masculine that um I don't know, the inspiration, the intuition and so on was missing. But
mm,
now when like these past few years when I've been so much into the feminine, it's like something it's missing again. Like
mm,
that structure, and like I feel like it also gives you the drive and to accomplish, accomplish
totally.
goals and targets.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to hear, Rebecca, because you have worked now, I don't know, with how many women mainly. Now your target is mainly women.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot.
A lot, probably thousands, hundreds of thousands. I don't even
Mhm.
know. What would you say has been their biggest challenge to really trust and connect to their soul?
I think there's a couple of things that happen. The first one is they compare what other people are saying to what they're receiving. So, for example, like in the sanctuary, in my mystery school as well, when we do like psychic development type lessons, what stops some people is they're like, oh, but I'm not seeing anything, for example, or
Mhm.
yeah, or I'm finding it hard to visualize. Like that's a big one. And so they're comparing their intuitive experience to someone else's, and all of us receive our guidance very differently. So for example, if I'm even like working with my team, I really really struggle to come up with ideas in a group setting.
Mm.
I'm best if I'm writing or I'm walking in nature. And so I'll end up, I say, if I need to come up with ideas, I kind of need to know in advance when I need to have them come up by.
Mhm.
I need a deadline, but yeah. So that's a good example. Another one that I think stops us is I think everyone receives intuition, but not many people actually act on it because we doubt it. We are waiting for it to make perfect logical sense, which
Yeah.
it rarely does because we're kind of receiving intelligence that's beyond the linear logical mind. And then most of us are waiting to know every single step along the way before we take the first step. And in my experience, I have never received like really strong intuitive guidance and every single step along the way.
Mm.
Got to, and this is why it takes courage to live a soul led life or
Yeah.
a intuitive life. You got to like be in motion with it.
Yeah, really. I know I heard this quote that clarity comes with action,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so true because as you said, we are waiting so often to like have all the plan laid out, to know exactly the outcome and
Mm,
have all the plan laid out, and then I'm gonna go.
yeah.
But that's not really courage, isn't it?
Mm-mm.
It's just waiting for things to be certain, and our just life it's meant to be uncertain. And Rebecca, I'm curious, like have you ever like within your business, because you offer a lot of different things, a lot of products, books,
Mm.
oracle cards, a lot of different things. Have you ever struggled charging for your services?
Absolutely. I think particularly with the one-on-one work, yeah, I remember at the beginning just being like, "Oh, can't possibly do this," you know? And so, yeah, I really get what that's like. And I think as well, particularly in like the spiritual world,
Mhm.
a lot of people have this like judgment of like, oh, but it should be free. And I feel really strongly that I do not agree with that because like it's a service just like anything and it's really important too. So, yeah, for me, I always make sure that like there's accessibility, like for circumstance someone is in. So if I'm doing like my mystery school, for example, it's a 9 month in depth training. It's amazing. It will change your life, and so having a low price point isn't a good value exchange. And I mean also like I think that because it is an investment that people are going on as well, so it's like it needs to be the right match, right? But I have a bursary for that. So if the people who don't have the means for it, we each year we do a bursary run. So yeah, so that makes me feel incongruent
Mm.
and with the price and then also that it is accessible. And then same thing, I've got like loads of like free offerings and then they kind of go up in value. So yeah, I think having the different touch points in prices feels good for me.
Mm.
Um and it makes me not feel so about like charging. And I think as well, like each time you do something new, and you kind of like push the container a bit, it's totally like,
Mhm.
it's like, oh God, can I really do this? So I definitely resonate with that as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. So really important from what I heard you saying is like you have free offerings and from there you have different price points so you can serve
Mm.
people no matter the stage they're at.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that helped you, you would say, because I really want to put this for all the spiritual people
Mm,
and
mm,
entrepreneurs out there that are listening that
mm,
struggle to
mm,
charge, that struggle to bring people in because they're like, oh, but not everyone has the money.
mm,
This is a
mm.
way to serve at the different levels, but really to
Yeah.
honor yourself, no, as you do that, because as you said, with the 9 months as
Mm,
well, that it's an investment and you make a
mm.
lot of investment in it as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and Rebecca, like, tell us how does tell me about the regular day. How does a regular day looks like in your life?
Well, I've got young kids, so I'm normally woken up by them, and the mornings are pretty manic, getting them out the door and
And young, how
everyone.
old are they?
2 and 5.
Ooh,
Yeah, so they're very young.
yeah.
And then yeah, and then, like, I'll come home, I'll either go to the gym or I'll walk in nature, and I drink coffee. So coffee has happened a couple of times probably by midday.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I'm working on a project, like a creative project, I prefer that because I find if I don't have somewhere to like channel my energy, I find that
Mhm.
because I'm such a sensitive, can it's not like I am suffering like deeply from anxiety, but there's a feeling of like a scanning of energy that happens when I am not channeling my energy into something to
Yeah.
create. So I've noticed that about myself. So it's like for myself, and then also it's where I'm at my best. So yeah, having a project that I think it's also because when I have a project, I go into the cave. So I'm spending time with my soul, with my guides, and I as a projector in human design, I really need that. So yeah, so I
Mhm.
think that's also part of that I've discovered about myself. Then yeah, afternoons, most of my team are based in America and I'm in the UK. So yeah, their morning is my afternoon. So yeah, we normally do meetings, my to-dos, that kind of thing, review copy, that kind of stuff. And yeah, and then pick up the kids and it begins again.
And there it is. Yeah. And how do you navigate being a mom and an
Mm,
entrepreneur? Because I even have friends that I know they are like at the beginning of their business, but there is constantly this thing that I just don't have time because the
yeah.
kids take all the energy all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a massive shift. I think you get good at focus. I'm way more productive than I was before because I just have to be. The thing that I find the thing I struggle with most about being like a creative entrepreneur and mum is just the lack of time on my own. And I think that's why,
Mm.
like what I said before about creating, I get more time on my own that way. So that's definitely what I struggle with the most. And just like the push pull, like I want to spend time with my kids, and then I want time for me,
Mhm.
and then yeah.
The
So
guilt,
yeah, I
no,
think
it's like navigating the guilt.
yeah, exactly. And I think where I have probably like yeah, like at the moment, because my kids are so young, it's definitely like my relationship with my husband and then just like my relationship, like me as an individual real person versus me in my work. They're definitely the two that are closer to the bottom of the list. And I'm constantly
Mhm.
trying to, yeah. But, there are seasons of life that, require different things of us. And like my son's now in grade 1 and my daughter's just started preschool. Prior to that, she was at home. I had some childcare, but like she'd be here, So that's a big difference. And so that's another
Mm.
shift. And so I can feel, oh, I'm getting a bit more space now. My
Yeah.
husband and we actually used to work very intensely in the business together. He used to run it, whereas I have someone else now running my digital, which means there's more space for us to not just talk about work. So
Yes. Yes. So you guys were doing pretty much the same things, yeah? Or you were talking it was about business. That was your connection
yeah, yeah,
point.
yeah. And it's because we wanted to too, because it's like, as you know, it's like this idea and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, you kind of need to boundaries.
Take a break from it too. Yeah. And you said that, okay, when you work on a creative project, you are able to go inwards and listen to the guidance and connect with your guides and to your intuition. I'm curious, what would you say was the craziest guidance you got? And you're
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid, or this sounds
Oh, yeah, yeah.
wild.
Okay, I know. So yeah, there was this one day I was this is a far out story. I was on my way to just like go to walk in the park that I used to walk in when I was in London. And I called my husband and I said, we didn't have kids. I'm like, it's really weird. I'm like, just really called to go to Glastonbury. I just like got the guidance so clearly. And it's just like so left field. I'm like, what do you reckon? He's like, do it, just go. And I was like, basically, no, that's right. I was going to the park and then I'm like, no, I'm going to go to a bigger park. And so I got on the tube, which I wouldn't normally do. So I was halfway across London when I'm talking to him. So I'm halfway to the train station to go to Glastonbury. He's like, go. And I'm like, really? Should I? He's like, yeah, we don't have kids, just do it. Didn't have anything, didn't have my makeup bag, didn't have underwear besides what I was wearing. And so
Mhm.
I did. I just like went to the train and then booked the train to Glastonbury. Never done that before. And I texted my friends, like this girl group that we were in WhatsApp or whatever. And my friend Lisa was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to Glastonbury to lead a ritual for these people, friends of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's why I'm coming then. She's like, yeah, come, come. I may or may not come, but if I come, let's catch up. I'll introduce you. Anyway, arrive in Glastonbury and I then go to walk up the Tor. It's this like mountain. And I ran into an old client of mine who was in Glastonbury to meet these people. I don't know, a mother and daughter. The daughter she met at this retreat, which I had actually recommended for her to do as a form of dancing called Koya. And anyway, she was like, do you want to come for dinner with us tonight? And I'm like, sure. I don't know why I'm here anyway. Yeah, sure, sure. Never like met her in real life or whatever. Anyway, my friend Lisa texts me and says, yeah, I'm not coming anymore. Sorry. I'm like, oh, no worries. I then go to meet my client and these two people, and it's the people that she was doing the ritual
Oh
for. So
my
I'm like, oh
gosh.
my gosh. And it was the deepest soul connections. My friend Eliza and her mum, Sil. And they're total soul friends. And
Mm.
I ended up leading the ritual for them. And it's been the deepest, most lovely friendship. And like so many different things have happened since then. And that was literally through this guidance to go to Glastonbury.
Wow.
And it was like I was picked up and placed there. Yeah.
Wow, so beautiful. Just listening and just going,
Yeah.
even though it sounds so crazy and wild.
Amazing.
And what is the difference that you notice with people when they do live a soul-led life? They do listen to their intuition, and those that choose to ignore it. What is the biggest
Mm.
difference between those people?
I think, first of all, there's this overall feeling of calm and satisfaction and resonance because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm living the life I was meant to live. Doesn't mean it's easy, doesn't mean you
Yeah.
sidestep challenge, but there's like a congruence. Like, it's like you're not exhausted by trying to make it and pretend and wear a mask that is not even you. So I think that's the biggest payoff. The other thing is that life becomes more magical. Like, you kind of
Mhm.
start I was having lunch with a friend yesterday, and she's a new friend, and I was learning about her, and both of us were sharing just like how incredible it is when you really do let yourself be led. And it's as if it was all planned for you and you just have to say yes to it. Yeah, so magical.
Mhm. Yeah, it
Mm,
truly is. It truly
mm.
is. And for those that don't listen, how does the opposite of that looks like?
I think it just feels like, you know, that feeling when you're just having small talk with people and you're just
Mm,
like, everything's a bit glazed over and you're just like, ugh. It feels like that. It's like, this is exhausting. What's the point? What am I even doing? You
mm,
know? Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
dreading it.
Yeah, like what we're wasting our life. We're wasting our time. Yeah.
Yeah. And what would be like one of the first steps that you would recommend to people for them to start leading a more soul-led life, to live a more soul-led
Well,
life?
I'd say like there's two things. First of all, a really simple way is to write down a list of things that light you up. Because when we're lit up, we're in our spirit, we're connected to our inner self.
Mm,
So I think that is a really simple and fun thing to do. The second thing I would say, I've got this thing, and you could Google it. There's a YouTube video on it. I think it's on my website as well. The 3 steps to living a soul-led life. So you can get that. There's a blog that writing out all the steps. But essentially, step 1 is, and you do this every day, connect with your soul through some kind of spiritual practice. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long you want it to be. It might be meditation, chanting, dancing, walking in nature, whatever it is. Then, so you're developing a relationship with your soul. Step 2 is to listen. And I suggest doing this through some kind of dialoguing with your soul. And this can be super simple. I call it soul inquiries. You ask a question and you answer it. So, what's my soul calling me to do? Or what does my soul want me to know? And then step 3 is baby steps. So, act on it, grounded action. So, what's a baby step that you can take in that direction today? And then you just repeat each day. It can take 5 minutes, literally. Yeah.
that's beautiful. I love it. And I love that people have now a easy, simple, practical way that they can
Mm-hmm.
now live a soul-led life.
Mm-hmm.
This was so beautiful, Rebecca. Are there any words you'd like to share with the audience when it comes to really connect with the magic of life, to trust themselves, to surrender, and to just realize that everything is unfolding and happening for us?
I would recommend going out in nature regularly and just looking, noticing. How are the leaves changing? Are the flowers out? Like what's happening to the natural world around us, particularly if you live in a seasonal place. That's what I'd recommend because we're
And
not
how
separate from nature. We're not separate from nature. Like we are part of nature. And it's actually the thing that keeps us separate and feeling so separate and severed and cut off and disconnected from ourself as well is because we see ourselves as separate from it. But
Mm.
nature is constantly changing and we are too. And so just by literally noticing what's changing around you, something shifts within us too.
So really just going out in nature and observing and
Mm-hmm.
becoming aware of the shifts. And by doing that,
Yeah, and just seeing the sacred that's all around us. You know, like if you watch a sunset, if you see the light in water, if you properly look at a tree or a flower, your breath will be taken away and you'll go into that
mhm.
connection, that union space. Mm.
And the more you would say, the more you connect with nature, the more you connect with your soul and with yourself.
Yeah, that's my experience. Yeah.
That has been throughout your life, your experience.
Mhm. Mhm.
Beautiful. Thank you so much,
Thank
Rebecca, for
you. It's
sharing
been
your
wonderful.
wisdom. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing. And for everyone that has listened, make sure you're going to go and check out Rebecca's website, her social media. I'm going to link them all in the show notes. She has a lot of beautiful offerings and a lot of oracle decks, as I have showed you, that are absolutely magical. And her work is truly, truly sacred. So thank you so much for being here,
Thank you.
for having the courage to follow your heart, to follow your intuition, so you can inspire us and everyone around you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Spiritual Changemakers podcast.
To stay connected and help us reach more people like you, please subscribe, follow, and leave a comment. Join our community of spiritual changemakers on social media to connect with like-minded individuals and continue the conversation. Remember, the power to create positive change is within you. Keep showing up as your best self, and let's keep the magic of change alive. Until next time.